Good evening. I'd like to show that the vision that T.R. Sanders had about his cemetery up here, that it has just about come to fruition. I don't know whether he gave thought to what was going to happen once this plot of this cemetery was filled up, who would maintain it and keep it up to date. Because this cemetery belongs to Sanders Garden Memorial or the Hollandale Mortuary, and it will be our responsibility of keeping it updated as you see it now. As you look down through the as you see that we're going to have to not groom, but we're going to have to maintain these trees. I was doing it over the years, but now I'm not able to come out and get in the sawdust to do this kind of work. So we're going to have to hire someone to come in to cut all of the low-hanging branches, which will create another expense. Landscaping and maintaining this cemetery is more than one could have given thought to. Cutting a cemetery here runs about, right now, $300. I used to cut half of it. That's why the cost was cut quite a bit. But now that it is filled, I don't have the equipment or the manpower, and I can't come out and drive any equipment. So we have to have someone to keep it cut and maintained. On the new addition that's looking at being developed, we have Bruton came in and land leveled it. Now we will have to get a surveyor to come in to be sure we have the 2 acres. In developing this, if we operate this part of the cemetery, you're going to have to do a lot of infrastructure work on it. That is, putting in ditches, roads, and developing a burial plot plan. Then you have to get approval to add the addition to this cemetery. As of the present time, we fall under the umbrella of Bass Cemetery Corporation, and but if you decide to do it yourself, you're going to have to get approval from the state, and you're going to have to do a lot of paperwork on this addition.
What's the span from here to where?
To the other side, but see, that's why it's got to be surveyed, because if you look in that direction, it's wider. I know it's 2 acres up there, but here it might be a little, because he couldn't turn his machine around, so we'll have to move over whatever amount it is to make it out to 2 acres once it's surveyed.
All right.
In case the space runs out for family members, we can always move the sign and the shrubbery toward the west to enlarge this part of the cemetery. We're on the east end of the cemetery, and on this end we'll be able to get in about 40 to 50 more graves, and there are some areas out in the middle of the cemetery. There are some spaces if we can get to them, so I would say the total amount of more graves that could be added here without any other development would be close to 55 or 60 more graves could go in here before it's completely filled. Looking at now is the new addition will be placed with the necessary work that need to be done on it. Damn, these nets bad. Huh?
You want to tell them about the back?
Oh, what you're looking at now is the piece of equipment that the Bass Corporation has loaned us for the last 2 years without any cost. Where these pictures are being taken are the area that Dad got real sick, and he had given up on managing the cemetery, and people had begun to come in and bury vaults on top of the ground and upright markers and all. So looking to the east, I started management there, where I had to take control and stop the burying on top of the ground. And all that you see there, 90% of all those markers were done by Charles and I. And most of them, we get $350, and I pay him. Started off paying him $15, but I've gone up to $20 a marker now. So a lot has been done to make the cemetery look presentable and efficient and without much cost. But I do want to take and recognize Charles Warren, because he's stuck with me for the last 10, 12 years in developing that part of the cemetery. I'd like to make a closing statement. There is a lot of work in cemetery operations. And for two of us, along with last year, Howard came up and gave me a hand when we went through the pandemic and had a lot of burials. But it is a lot of work, and I caution you to really look at it, because a lot have changed in the operation of a cemetery, because people have abused these church cemeteries over a period of time, and it's going to really be very expensive to operate a memorial cemetery.